And happy Monday morning, to everybody. Welcome to Forged with Fire. My name is Spencer Ray, aka Fire Squasher 357 in the gaming world. Thanks for jumping in this morning or this afternoon, today, whatever it is that you're seeing this. Welcome to Forged with Fire, where we talk about life lessons, leadership for men, and learn from my mistakes. Um, you know, I've made a lot of them, so we just kind of talk about uh, my life and my screw ups, and hopefully others can learn from that. So, and we also talk about sports, manly stuff, racing, basketball. Those are the two big things going on right now. Baseball's coming up soon. Um, so yeah, it was a huge weekend uh, in sports, at least in basketball and racing. Basketball is a little more popular than the racing is right now. The 12 hours of Sebring happened on Saturday, which it's something that if you're a racing fan, you can always just have the race going on in the background and you still know what's going on. Whereas basketball, you really have to pay attention unless you're just watching scores. Um, if you happen to listen to the last podcast, I've been playing single dad now for today is day number 7, day number 8. So my wife had a death in the family, and she's been out of town helping take care of some stuff. So I've been playing single dad. So I didn't get to watch any of the NCAA tournament, but I followed scores, and this is the tournament of the upset. Um, I. I have not seen this many huge upsets probably since I was in high school. Um, I really watched the NCAA tournament when I was in high school and for a few years after, and then went several years getting busy with life and stuff to where I didn't watch it as much. But I mean, man, you got big teams getting knocked down by Abilene Christian beat Texas, Ohio beat Virginia. What was the other one here? UCLA beat BYU, but the big story. Actually, I guess it would be two. Loyola Chicago beat number one Illinois, and then Oral Roberts is on a tear. Um, to me that's crazy. I mean, not to count out Oregon State, they beat Oklahoma State as well, but Oral Roberts, I guess, is the big wow, I can't even talk this morning. Cinderella story. They've they knocked off a number one seed, I believe it was, and now they've knocked off a number seven seed in Florida, making it to the Sweet 16. It's crazy how many upsets are going on this year, and I think it's awesome. I wish I would have been able to watch some more of the games, um, but doing stuff with the kids and all of that, haven't really had time to. Just making sure that they're good and taken care of, and that they're entertained and all of that. So really haven't got to watch it, but I've been watching the scores, and every time I get a score alert, I'm just like, all right, who's upset who this time? It's crazy how many upsets are going. So yeah, it's really great. Seems like it's good competition, and a lot of excitement around the tournament. I can't wait to see what happens now with Sweet 16. Um, I forgot to check see how many games we got going today here. Let me do. I'm not seeing right now where my chart is, but anyway, more games coming up. We'll see what happens with the Sweet 16. In the racing world, we had the 12 Hours of Sebring down in Florida for the IMSA WeatherTech Series. Multi-class racing. This is the first year that they've had 5 classes of cars on the track at one time for the 12 hours of racing. So they had 3 prototype classes and 2 what they call GT or sports car classes. And it was some really crazy racing. I forgot the car count, but it was up around 40 to 50 cars. All of them go varying speeds, and the traffic really affected the race this year. And it was great. It was good racing. Leads in every class were tightly contested. I think towards the end, I think the LMP2 or LMP3, one of the prototype classes, the leaders actually got on the lead lap by themselves and had lapped their whole class. But your prototype classes and your GT classes, your GTLM and GTD, for a couple different sports cars. They were most of the classes were on the same lap after 12 hours, which is really crazy. You don't see that a lot in multi-class racing, but the traffic really it's a very technical, very tight course. So there's only a few spots to where you can really, if you've got a faster car or a better handling car, that you can really pull out and take a good lead or get around traffic. And watching the prototypes, the DPI prototypes, which are the fastest cars in the class, trying to weave through this traffic and avoid cars was, man, it takes some talent. And there was some mistakes made. There were cars that uh, tried to put drivers that tried to put their cars where they shouldn't go, and ended up causing some wrecks. If you know anything about Sebring, the big thing about Sebring is they always say respect the bumps. The last turn on the track, turn 17, is a hairpin turn that comes off the old airport runway back onto the track, and it's bumpy the entire turn. And if you don't take your line just right or hit your throttle just right, you spin out. And there were people, a lot of spinning out. Jimmy Johnson, the seven-time NASCAR champ who is making a transition to sports cars and IndyCar, within the first 15 minutes, wrecked the car, spun out coming through turn 17, got hit by another car. Actually got hit by the number 5 DPI, the Mustang sampling car, that ended up winning the race out of nowhere. Watching the race, it looked like it was going to come down to between the '01 Chip Ganassi and I just went blank. But it was a pretty tight, race. It might have been the number 10, Konica Minolta. But yeah, it was really tight, and then out of nowhere with pit stops and cautions, the number 5 Mustang sampling came back and won it. In the GT classes, the GTLM Porsche won, I believe, and it was nice to see them because Porsche has ended their factory support. So it's a privateer racing team that's actually racing the Porsche, which is really cool to do that. So, but it was really great, and one of the things that they talked about a lot during the 12 hours was the fact that there were several drivers that were second, third, fourth generation racers, and it got me to thinking about, as men, what are we doing for the next generation? If you've got sons, what are you doing for them? Where are you taking them? Where are you leading them? Are you passing along passions and knowledge and skills to to help them in the future, to give them knowledge, give them wisdom. One of the big things that I've always been thankful for that my dad passed along to me, other than a pretty stout work ethic. I'm not perfect. I have my lazy days where all I want to do is sit on my butt, and I know we all do, which is fine. But one of the things my dad gave me was a really strong work ethic. But he also taught me how to work on cars, which is probably part of the reason why I'm such a huge racing fan. Uh, I forgot to mention NASCAR. NASCAR happened. It was Atlanta. Yeah, it was Atlanta. Other than a fight after the Xfinity race. Um, yeah, sorry. NASCAR, you're getting boring. You got to figure something out. Anyway, one of the things that Dad passed along to me working on cars, and that has, I'm early 40s now, so we're coming up on it's 30 years. 30 years I've been able to work on my own vehicles. I started learning, in my early teens, how to change oil, how to diagnose what's going on with cars, how to fix things, and my dad passed that along to me. And one of the big stories that I like to tell people is my very first vehicle I bought was a truck. It was a '79 Chevy Silverado short wide bed with a Big Ten package. If you know what that is, it's a unicorn of a truck. It was a special order from the factory back in 1979 because the short wide beds didn't have the Big Ten package, which meant it came with a bigger engine, a 400 turbo transmission instead of a 350 turbo, so it had more torque. It didn't have the low end pull, but it had more torque, and came with a heavier suspension. So it's kind of a unicorn. Everything was just built a little stouter, a little tougher. The original engine was gone and had been replaced with a 350. But my dad, well, back to me. Let me start to here. I had the truck for 6 months. It was a fast truck. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't, it wasn't a drag race truck because it didn't have the pull out of the line because of the 400 turbo transmission. But you get it wrapped up running, you know, 5, 6, 7,000 RPM in top gear, and it would peg easily at 100, and the speedometer would keep going past 100. Yes, I was a very fast, horrible driver as a teenager. I'm not gonna say horrible. I drove really fast as a teenager, and my parents know it, so I don't mind saying it on here. But anyway, had the truck for 6 months and blew the engine up in it. That's what happens when you're 16-year-old and hot rodding. And we got the truck down to my dad owned a shop at the time, a metal fabrication shop, and we got the truck down to the shop, and he we went to go work on it, and the first thing he told me before we started was, "I'm going to help you change one engine in this truck, just one, and after that, you're going to do it all yourself. And unless you need help lifting something, I'll help you with heavy lifting. But other than that, you're doing it all yourself." Because he knew what was coming. He knew this wasn't the only engine I was going to put in that truck because he he saw how I drive and how things go. So we went through the process, and Dad walked me through everything. From we'd be underneath the truck, showing me this goes here, this goes there. You unbolt this here, you unbolt this there. Back up on top. Hey, you got to take this off. Got to take this off. You got to unbolt this. Walking me through the whole process. We pulled the engine out, left with the transmission because he wanted to teach me how to work on the transmission as well. So we pulled the whole engine and transmission out, got the new engine, got everything bolted up the way it was supposed to be, put back in the truck. We just worked a couple hours at a time. After work, I was going to school, and I'd get a ride down, and after he was off work, we'd work on it. So it took us a few days to get the engine swapped out, and got her all fired up and took off. And I don't think I ever thanked my dad for that day or for that week, because I learned so much about how to take care of my stuff. Even though I was a teenager and still did stupid stuff and still put 3 or 4 engines in that truck. I can't remember how many it was. I put several engines in that truck each time, making it a little bit faster. Um, got it pretty high top end and scary enough to where the front end of a short wide bed pickup, the front end would get light. That's how fast we were going. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. But it was. I never thanked him enough, and I've thanked him on social media, and I've thanked him times whenever we'll get to talking about what I'm working on, and this broke on the car, that broke on the Tahoe, or on the SUVs that we've got, and get something fixed, and and go over to their house. Man, I'm glad you taught me how to do stuff. Otherwise, we would have had to pay a lot of money to fix this. All I had to do was buy the parts and fix it myself. So I'm real thankful that Dad did what he did to ingrain in me, some life lessons and some knowledge and some wisdom on working on cars. But that's me. So, if you're a dad, what is it that you have knowledge in, or have a passion about that you want to share with your kids? Or if you don't have kids, what's something you have a knowledge or passion about to pass on to the next generation? Because we can't just let knowledge die with us. One of my biggest regrets in life, and I don't think I've really ever told my family about this much, is one of the biggest regrets in my life was as I went through high school and became a firefighter and got through college and realized I wanted to be a firefighter, but I also was working on, um, as the sun comes up and starts to mess up my video feed. At least you can't see this whenever I get all the audio done. But one of the biggest regrets I had was, I going through college and doing things. I'm also a kind of a computer geek, tech guru type guy. I hate to say guru, but that's what worked for this one. I'm kind of a tech geek. Here, let me close these shades real quick. I'm kind of a tech geek, and I've worked with cameras and media and stuff like that a lot. And I had somebody mention when my grandfather first got cancer that somebody needed to sit down with him and record his stories. And I thought about it for a long time. I thought about it too long. I thought, I need to, but I never made the time to do it. And I got to thinking about it after he passed away several years ago. It's like, what is the next generation missing now? Because I didn't do something. Why? Because I didn't help him pass along his knowledge and his wisdom and his experience to the next generation. So it's really always been a big deal to me to try to figure out what knowledge and wisdom do we need to pass on to the next generation. If you've got kids, if they've got a passion and you've got some knowledge in it, dude, share it. Make them better than you. Don't be selfish about this. Don't get the mentality of I've got to be better than my kids. One of the big things I told my oldest son is you're the best of us. I may be a smart guy and was always told I was smart when I was, younger, book wise. But my son is head and shoulders smarter than me. I've always told him you're the best of us. You can be anything you want, and I always try to share the information that I've got with him. He's old enough now. We're getting close to where he's going to be getting a driving permit and getting his own vehicle in the next few years. He started helping me work on the cars. He's learned how to change oil. I'm not 100% where I'm going to let him do it by himself, but he's learning and he's growing. He's also a big computer whiz. He's thinking about doing a career in IT, and so I've always built my own computer since the mid '90s, and so I've passed along my knowledge. I've helped him build his computer and get books for him, get knowledge for him, get training for him, to where if he decides he wants to do a career in IT, he's already going to have a little bit of a leg up. Um, so we got to pass it along, guys. We can't be so selfish to think that we are the best that there ever has been and the best there ever will be. Make the next generation better than us. Make the world better for somebody else. Um, I don't want to get real political on how selfish culture is right now and how much hate and division there is, because there really is. We're in a point in our nation where we're trying to figure everything out, and as we're trying to figure everything out, cancel culture is trying to cancel everything, and that just ain't going to work. But anyway, we've got to pass along the information and knowledge that we've got and make the next generation better than us. So, guys, don't be selfish. If you've got knowledge about, if you're, like I said, if you're a car guy, pass along that information. If you're a tech guy, pass along that information. If you're good with numbers, pass along that knowledge and information and wisdom. If you're a sales guy, come on, pass it along. Get some passion going. Get bring up the next generation. If they're your sons or your daughters, do it. If they've got the same passion, even if they don't and just have an interest, give it all. Just pass it along the best you can, so that we're not on a decline for the next generation. We'll see a generation that comes up better than us, that'll fix our mistakes and take care of stuff that we didn't. So I don't know how much more I can go into that. It's getting close to time for me to go to work. I've hit about my 20 minutes that I normally do. I just want to say thank you for everybody that's supporting this right now, supporting me and doing this short podcast, this weekly 25 minute. Hey, here's some info. Here's my screw ups. Here's what we kind of need to do type thing. But I really appreciate everybody that's supporting me. If you would, give us a like and a follow. We're on several different platforms. On Instagram, we are forge.with.fire. Facebook, YouTube, Forged with Fire. If you have any questions, comments, topics you'd like to hear us talk about, you can go to Forged with Fire Online, one word, Forged with Fire Online at gmail.com. Send us an email. Let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about. But yeah, we're up for talking about anything, even if it's not a popular topic. Like I said, I don't like to get too political on here because this is about life lessons and leadership for guys I hate to say it, to get us off our butts. Yeah, we got to have our downtime. We got to have our time to play, but we got to get off our butts. We can't stay on video games all the time. And we got to make sure the next generation realizes there's a time to relax and play and enjoy that stuff, and there's a time to get off our butts and do some work and be men. So I appreciate everything everybody's doing for me, for sharing and liking. I hope you enjoy what we're doing. Can't wait to see y'all next time. Y'all have a great day, and God bless.